And we are live with another episode of Brownish. Yeah, it's been a while. I know we've been on a little bit of a hiatus, and we'll talk about that once my co-host gets here. As you can tell, she's not here yet. Um, so sorry, that's her right there. So welcome, guys. I feel like there's so much we got to talk about. There's so much we got to catch up on. Hopefully, you guys are doing well. Hopefully, you guys are staying sane. You're staying safe during all of this. We've got a great show for you today. Today we've got a cool guest that I'm excited about. But before we get into all that, let me just catch you up. This last month, we hold on. I think I see my co-host coming in right now. Running late, but she's here. Let's see. There
Hey,
she is.
here I am. I just came from a little hike. How are you?
You turned very LA. A little hike.
A
Look at
little.
her. A
How
little
are you?
hike.
Look
I'm
very
good. I was just saying we haven't been around for a while,
been a while. It has been a while, but we've been busy. We've been doing a lot.
but we back.
We back, and I like that. How you doing?
we
How you doing? I like this background.
Thank you. This is so usually you guys see the pink wall, which is over there, and I flipped it. Give me a little more. It makes it look like I reads. It looks like
I like
it looks like
that.
I
What's
know
the first
stuff.
one? I like that.
It looks like I know things.
Yeah, I feel like you have the answers to everything right now. Like I can ask
I
you
feel
anything,
I
and
feel
you're
like
like,
anytime you watch CNN or any of those news outlets, whenever somebody got a bunch of books behind him, he's just saying stuff. You just like, I believe him.
yeah,
Yeah, he knows what he's talking about. Look at
you
all
would
them
talk
books
about
behind
anything.
him. He knows everything. Look at him. He's got
Yeah.
all those leather books behind him and diplomas. He knows. I
Yeah,
don't know
and they're
nothing.
like hard covered. They look like they don't even look like the soft ones. They look like the hard ones. The ones that
That's how I know we both went to public school. They look like the hard ones, not the
it looks
soft
like the
ones.
hard, the very textbooky, the one that you know it got some serious information.
They got weight. They got weight. You know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. They got that weight.
But how you
So
been?
I've been good. Like you said, I've been busy. We've been working on stuff. I felt bad every time I felt like we had set up to do the show. I'd be like, hey, listen, I got caught up in this. And I've just been all over the place. But same with you. You've been busy too. You've
Yes.
been doing stuff. Before we get into any all that, let's talk about something that the fans may not know. But you just celebrated a little birthday. What?
Yeah,
Happy
it
birthday!
celebrated last month, and it's still I'm 31.
Ooh, that's a big one.
Yeah, I'm an adult now.
You're an
I am
adult. Like,
responsible for all of my issues.
yeah,
Like when you're younger, you're so used to like blaming people for your issues. Now
yeah.
you have to take full responsibility. So yeah,
You ever meet somebody that's your age, but not in New York and LA? Because I feel like New York and LA is like this little bubble of its own, but like in the Midwestish, and they got their stuff together, and they own land, and you just like you. This time I don't feel like an adult.
right.
And I'm older than you. I got kids, and there's times where I meet adults my age. They got it together, and I look at them like, "How old are you?" And then when they say it's their age and it's the same as mine, I'm like, "No, you're not. Shut up. I'm like, something wrong."
Yeah, no, absolutely. I look at these people. I'm like, oh my god, like wow, you are very well put together. Like you got that ambition on deck.
Yeah,
Because sometimes it's like, New York City and stuff like that. It's like you don't grow. It's like the Peter Pan syndrome. It's like you always want to hang
yeah,
out with your friends and like whatever your friends are doing, and then you forget you're getting older. I think with
yeah.
people that don't hang out as much, or probably like on the Midwest area or whatever, they're like, you know what, like it's time to get a house. It's time for me to start figuring stuff out.
Right. And I even think because with what we do, we're always like joking around, like it's hard for us to take anything serious. We don't really think in that mindset. Like we're having fun a lot of times with our job,
Yeah.
and then like we don't have job uh ailments like I've seen people like, oh man, this carpal tunnel, I'm typing all day, my back. I'm just like, ugh. I had too many chicken wings last night. Like that's my ailment.
Yeah.
I should have. Like we don't have like real job ailments or worries,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
It's like I can't even drink the same either. Like I remember when I used to like go out and have fun and drink, and then I'll just bounce back the next day. Now I'm just like recovering for 2 days.
Mhm.
So it's just like,
Yeah,
man, it's crazy. It's crazy.
yeah. So, well, happy birthday, and you traveled a little bit. You went
Hawaii.
to one of my favorite places, Hawaii, and that
You've
was
been
your
to
first time
Maui,
going.
right? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I've been
You
to
told me
Maui.
about that spot. The spot was good, actually.
That pie? Did you have the pie?
Yeah, I didn't get to finish eating the whole pie because I left it out overnight, and then a whole bunch of like I messed up, but it was really
Yeah.
good.
Because I had a comedian friend of mine put me onto that place. He's like, "Yo, you got to try the banana cream pie," and I've tried banana cream pie. Shout out to Leota's in Maui. If you've never been, go. They don't pay us for this. I'm telling you, this is how good this place is. So I've had banana cream pie, and they usually use like the artificial banana, and it was like, it's all right. And he was like, "Yo, you gotta try banana cream pie." I was like, "Man, shut up! Like, come on, I've had banana, it's fine." And then when you walk in, first of all, the place is adorable, but you can just smell all the ingredients because they're using everything fresh from the island. Changed my life. So anytime everybody's like, "Yo, I'm going to Maui," I'm like, "You need to go there." And
Yes.
people are like, "Really?" I'm like, "Go." I feel like I'm always yelling at people, "Go and get the banana cream pie."
Did you ever go to take Road to Hana?
The road to Hana.
You did it?
Uh, yeah. Did you?
So did you drive? Yeah,
Yeah, we
me and
drove.
you drove personally. So basically, like when we got there, a lot of the people were like warning us. They were like, "Oh, like don't really like be careful. Like a couple people have died." Like it was funny because it was just like, if like when you go to a movie, right? And not
Uh-huh.
go to a movie, but like when you watching a movie and they're like in this like paradise island and stuff like that, and then they're like start asking questions about the things that they should probably do in the island.
Mhm.
And then I was expecting people to be like, "Oh my god, yeah, you could do this, you could do that." They'd be like,
Yeah,
"Well, there's been a couple deaths recently," and I'm like,
yeah,
what the fuck?" So
yeah,
basically, like that road, it's not really paved, right? So
yeah, yeah. But
um,
it hits a certain point where it's dirt almost.
yeah, it's just straight up dirt, and the roads aren't fully like developed. So they were talking about how because there's so much rain, there's been a lot of mudslides. There's been
Mhm.
people have been getting stuck there, and the other name that they have for that road is divorce road. So people
Mhm.
get on the road and then get divorced afterwards, like because they're
Oh,
always, sometimes they get stuck there and they be like, "Why did you take this?" But
yeah,
it was the most magical, most beautiful thing that I've ever experienced.
yeah.
And we
No,
didn't have any issues at all.
it was funny because you guys didn't get divorced. Y'all were good.
No, we good.
uh, yeah, I saw your post was like, "Hey guys, what should I do in Maui?" And I sent you to Leota's, and I was gonna like send you stuff, but I was like, I don't want to overwhelm them. They probably got their own list of stuff that they want to do. Like
Yeah.
Road to Hana is one of them. I'll tell you now, like if you didn't do it and you got to go back, you got to watch sunrise. Like there's this mountain you can go on and just sit and watch the sun, and you're above it, so you're like, it's crazy. Like, and I'm one of those people when people are like, let's go see the sunset at the beach. I'm like, you could Google image that, but
Yeah.
that one, because you're elevated, so when it comes up, it just lights everything. It's insane,
Really?
insane.
No, I didn't do
Yeah.
that. But
All right.
the whole road to Hana was like really the most beautiful thing that I've ever seen. Like
Yeah.
most beautiful thing. But there was one time when we were driving and it was fairly like, oh, this is pretty dangerous. But then there was these two goats that were, because it's like, even though it's a little road, you're still on the mountain, right? So they were
Uh,
on the mountain and it just out of nowhere just got in front of us. I was like, fuck. It was like, thank God, like
yeah.
my boyfriend knows how to drive, but
Yeah.
it was beautiful. I mean, I wouldn't even, I can't,
Yeah.
I've never
Next
seen
time you go back, sunrise, and then there's a couple of hiking trails I could send you. Like there's one where it's like four waterfalls, but on one of them you actually have to swim through a little bit to find the fourth waterfall. It's crazy. There's
what?
some there's some cool stuff. That's why like when you put like when people are like, hey, what should I do? I don't want to like, yo, do all this
No,
stuff,
you should have
do
told me all
everything.
of that. You should have told me all of that. But we did some cool stuff, so that's good to
Because I also do get mad when people are like, oh, I'm gonna go here. What should I do? And you like give them stuff and like, hey, did you do it? And they're like, I didn't We just stayed in the hotel. And you're like, then why'd you even ask?
Why'd you ask
Uh,
me?
I will say this, and then we'll get started bringing our guest. So we did the road to Hana. We went to the Black Sand Beach. Did you guys go to the beach?
No, because now they're
Okay.
doing reservations.
So we went to the Black Sand Beach, and let me tell you this: this was the craziest thing. Like, when you talk about the movies, and you're like, oh my god, there's always like that creepy, like, oh, tropical island. So we went to Black Sand Beach, and we're at the beach, and I go, oh, these are cool. That somebody had told us, like, they're like lava rock, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I'm gonna take one home for my kid, and I picked it up and put it in my pocket. Cut to later that day, we're back at the hotel, and we're like, oh, let's go get food. I was like, but I don't want to drive. Let's jump in an Uber. We'll go to like the little town and get food. And the guy's talking to us, and he's like, "Oh, what'd you guys do today? Oh, rode to Hana, Black Sand Beach." I was like, "Yeah, I picked up one of those rocks to take home to my kid." He's like, "Oh no, don't take the rock off the island." Like, he got real like pale, and I was like, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, no, it'll curse your whole house. It'll curse your family. You don't take the rocks off the island." And I was like, "All right." We get there, and I was like, that was crazy. Mom was like, yeah, that was a little nuts. So I was like, maybe it was just this dude. Sasha, I asked 3 other people. I asked the dude at the restaurant. Everybody had the same reaction, just like this pale, like, oh no, oh, don't do. I asked the dude at the hotel. I asked another dude there, another Uber. Like, they just would go pale and be like, don't, whatever you do not
So
take the
you put
rocks
the
off.
rock back, right?
Oh, I put the rock back. They were like, you have to like tell, ask for forgiveness from, and I forget what the name of the god that in Maui, and they're like,
And you did it,
and just
right?
put it. Oh yeah, I did. I was like, quick. I was like, oh, sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't. I'm so sorry. They were,
Oh
but
my
like, if you
God.
Google it, like, there's stories of like people getting divorced, people dying, people like
You
they.
lying. Are you
I
serious?
swear to you, the number one import in Hawaii are the rocks that people send back to end the curses.
You're lying.
Like, they get
This
thousands of rocks every like month of like people. Well, we're so sorry. We didn't mean to take. I swear to God, Google this after this show. It is the creepiest thing. When I tell you, people were like shook. Oh no, don't take the rock. I was like, oh, okay. That's. I was like, are they? I was like, am I being pranked? What is this?
that's
Nope.
insane.
Yep.
That's so crazy. Oh my God. But it's funny that you're telling me that because it's like the most beautiful place in the world. That's why it was
Yeah.
so weird when I'm asking people what to do. And they'll be like, oh, you could do this, but be careful because a couple people have died. This, that, and that. I'm like, is this gonna be a horror film? Somebody gonna come kill me. Yo, I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, look it up. But let's get the show started. I'm excited about our guest today. She's dope. I met her a couple years back at Hispanicize when the world was open.
I
Now,
know.
it's closed. But she's a radio personality. We kicked it in LA, and then she ended up moving to New York to do radio. And when I was in New York, we met up, and she just got such a cool story, and I want to
She
bring her in.
is. She's so dope. Like I met her too. She's like this great energy, great spirit, always like positive. Like you know what I mean. Like so, I'm happy that we have her on the show.
Yeah. So let's give it up for
Yeah,
Jaylah Sandoval.
hey,
I gotta fix my camera now. I gotta hi guys.
Hi,
I'm so
how
happy
are
to be
you?
on. First of all, I'm honored to be the first one back as you guys come back.
Yes.
That's a
Yes.
big deal. Love my West Coast, even though I met Sasha in New York, and I feel like this is all a full little circle for me, and I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah. Thank you for being with us. So how you been? How's everything?
Man, things have literally been crazy. Like this pandemic has done some craziness to the world and I think to everybody's lives. And it's something so different because I remember like reading history books and like reading all these things. I'm like, yeah, that'll never happen in our lifetime. And we are in such a weird spot that I don't think any of us, our kids, our parents, our grandparents would have ever thought we'd be in this. But it's been one of those like a gift and a curse. I think everybody kind of needs to see, it's like when it rains and it's thundering and lightning and then the rainbow comes out at the end. Yeah. You know that there's always going to be a better light even when you don't understand it. And I think that's the problem that we're in right now that, man, let's be real, especially Latinos, we're so used to like certain, like, you wake up, you do this, like we have an ordering of things on how to do things and how to move and responsibilities and parenting and this and that, and like our whole world went
right.
So it's like that horrible pile of laundry that you have, and you're like, damn, I gotta wash that and sort it and put out on it, and maybe try a couple things.
Right.
You ever think about this, Jaylah? Because you have kids, and well, you have a daughter, and she's adorable, and I've got kids. You ever think about this? There's gonna be a point where our kids have kids, and those kids are gonna come up to you like, "Abuela, Grandpa, tell us about 2020," and we're gonna be like, "Oh man, where do I start?"
No, forget
we had a reality. We had a reality TV star president. He messed it all up, and then there was a pandemic.
Right.
No, I'm gonna be the one that's gonna be on the rocking chair with my little whiskey, like my little hot toddy in my hand, because green tea and Jameson always goes well no matter how old you are. And I'll be sitting in my rocking chair talking about Olvídate del 2020. It was pre-COVID. Pre-COVID was those were the good old days. That's when that line comes where you're officially a vieja, where you're like, oh, eso buenos días, the good old days. I remember that when we used to do concerts and masks didn't exist. What was a mask? It was, you know what it was? A filter on Snapchat. That's what it was.
Right. Right. True. So I think about it all the time. I'm like, oh my God, like, we've been going through all these things, but I feel like a lot of people learn this lesson where we're like, we are not our material things. You know what I'm saying? Like, it really taught us how to like find the talent within and how to be creative with what we have. So how have you been creative during this time?
No, I mean, it's been hard because it's been a mix of a lot of things. I feel like at the beginning of the pandemic, people just didn't know what to do. So there was I feel like an oversaturation of content. Mm-hmm. Everybody was on live. Everybody had a podcast. Everybody had a Twitch. Everybody was doing Zoom parties. Everybody was on house parties. Everybody had something. And it was all kind of like, it's like when you throw up and the toilet doesn't flush. It's just all kind of just swirling around. And I felt like that's what it was. It was just such an over retaliation. And because of the way I feel like we're just conditioned, especially in this industry where we're always like, what's the next move? What are we working on? What are we planning? What's the next, are we going to do a video? Are we going to do a sketch? Are we going to do a Zoom? How can we adapt? And Clubhouse came into the picture, and that was a whole nother monstrosity. So it's like, there's just been a lot of adjusting, I feel, for people. I know that everybody likes to talk about the hard parts and the negative side of COVID and this pandemic, but I also think there's been a lot of good sides. I've never in my life seen so many people of color speak about mental health, about breaking cycles, about healing and growing and self-love. And I think that's such a big deal, especially me being a mom now. We grow up with that guilt of me and Eric were talking about this off air, boundaries. I think this is such a huge year for boundaries, especially for a person of color, where it's like, whether it's friends, family, work, your own creative space, your own branding, where you can set your boundary and be like, hey, not only are we in a pandemic, but A, B, C, and D, I'm not tolerating this. I spoke to her yesterday. She's an amazing creative photographer and this and that. And I told her, I was like, this is your year to set your boundaries. This is your year to be like, hey, listen, I can't do this. This is my price. Like, this is what I do. And especially as women in this industry, I think it's such a big deal for us. And I think that I know people want to see the bad, but there's also been a lot of good. This being able to sort through this laundry and find balances. Me as a mom, I have to find a lot of balance. Okay, my daughter's this week is spring break. So how do I continue to work and do my shows and do this and do that while she's at home, and set her up and teach her that, hey, this is mommy working from home. We need to have our boundaries. when mommy's in a space, when the ring light is on or when this light is on, like, you need to understand that this conversation can't happen, and it's growing. I think it's a good thing. I've seen so many people, especially like you, Sasha, Eric, like you guys have done so much in this pandemic that has brought feel good, that's brought a different light, that a lot of people, have been so negative. And I know there's a lot of negative things happening in our world, with the Asian hate crimes, the Black Lives Matters, even the politics. Like, it's not easy, but not everybody's into those lanes. And sometimes, especially in the PC world that we live right now, where everything is so sensitive, still having people that are going to push through and fight through all of that, like you guys have with the comedy and with even topics and shows and conversations, I think it's a big deal. I just think that, it's like they say, it's the mentality. What is your mentality going to be in all of this? To me, it's been hard. I was telling Eric, I have no filter. So for me, I'm going through a divorce right now. I had to set boundaries with my own family, who I love to death, but it was crucial for my relationship with my daughter. I had to set boundaries with friends, with family, with even her father, like, and that's not easy. Growth is hard. It sucks. These changes suck. My daughter's growing up. She's in kindergarten. So she doesn't know what being in school is without a mask.
Wow.
And she's in school full time. But that's her new reality. So as her mom, I know what it is to go to school without it, but she doesn't. So why would I bring that negative space into her and let her enjoy it? She's enjoying, she's making friends, she's still in school. Yes, we take our precautions. She has her mask, she has her hand sanitizers, her wipes, her this, her that. She knows her protocols. I make lunch a specific way. She even has to dress a specific way because the teachers are not allowed to touch or help them with their clothing. So if her shoes get untied, it's a wrap. There's nothing they could do about it. So there's adjustments to life that have been happening. That it's just a balance. It's an adjustment and adjusting. And especially in a world where we're culturally taught that we have regimens, that these are A, B, C, D, E, F, G, that doesn't count anymore. We don't know if it's Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Easter, Christmas. Like, at this point,
right.
It's all the same.
Right. That's so true. So, like, in the midst of all of those things, like, what is something that you've learned about yourself and how you're dealing with this whole situation?
I've never ever. I'm an Aries. I'm a hardcore Aries. Patience is
so your birthday's coming up?
Yep, April 12th is coming up.
Yes. Isn't that Selena's birthday?
And patience has been bad. I'm so bad with for myself, for my career, for everything. But this has taught me to stop feeling guilty about self-love, because napping, going to the beach and getting some sun, taking a bath, simple little things, you feel guilty, especially as a parent, because you're like, your kids come first, but you cannot ever, and I got this piece of advice from a friend 10 years ago. And her daughters are valedictorians. They go to FSU, they go to US, like full scholarship paid. And their mom and their dad go out, get lit. Like, they have the time of their lives. They're young parents. They have their careers. They do everything. And I was like, how do you guys manage all of this with 3 girls and, having to pay and houses and this and that? They're like, honestly, if you're not 100%, your children will never be 100%. And that's so hard to learn, because we grow up knowing that once you have a child, they always come first.
Right.
And that's not true, because if I'm not okay, she's going to feel my energy. She's going to feel my power. She's going to feel like, why is mommy not, what's wrong with mommy? So I took that to heart. And it's something that is hard, because I have to fight against people, even simply going to the gym or going to yoga. They're like, well, that's not really like a priority. Yes, it is a priority. It's a priority for my mental health. It's a priority for my body. It's a priority for who I am, because when I leave out of there, I'm not yelling, screaming. I'm, yo, baby, what are we doing? We have energy. Let's go. What do you want to do? What are we going to, what I mean? And it's a different vibe.
Right. Yeah, no, it's so funny, because people are like, I run in the mornings, and people are like, oh, you must love running. I hate the act of running, but I love everything that it involves. I love the time for myself. I love exactly what you're saying. Once you get that out, like the endorphins, it's a different energy for the day. I love just getting into my own head, clearing up my thoughts, clearing up what I want to do that day. Like that's when I do most of like my writing and stuff and all my crazy ideas. That run. So like I force myself, like you got to get up, you got to do this, or else the rest of the day is shot for me. And the kids feel it, and they're just like, What? Dad's a grouch," and I'm like, "Yeah, man, I didn't do the run." So yeah, like everybody's like, "You must love it."
Right.
I love everything around it.
And even simple things, like I tell people when people ask me, like, like sometimes I can't. I'm a single mom. I don't have, a lot of help per se. I do everything on my own, especially being here in South Florida. I got things to handle. So like a simple, like making sure, we do bedtime, she does her story, and I get Epsom salt and just throw it in the tub, even if it's for 10 minutes. Those 10 minutes are life changing. They help. They clear your mind for 10 simple minutes. And I think that this pandemic has done such a good job at reminding people, especially people of color, how important our self-care is. Even something as simple as like taking a birthday vacation. I'll be honest, I've taken one real vacation my entire life. Everything else has either been work related. I'm traveling with Billboard, or I'm traveling with this, or I'm going here, or I'm doing there. I went to Paris, and again, it was a DJ retreat that I was on. Like, it wasn't ever like, I just want to go because I want to go. Like, simple things like that. Like, we forget how much that actually is a reset and a recharge. And we're so used to getting burnt out. And if we don't feel burnt out, we don't feel like we've done our job. And that's not okay either. It's just like, it's breaking those generational cycles and reteaching yourself, and I like the fact that this pandemic has brought out a lot of amazing entrepreneurs. It's pushed people who've always dreamt of using their hobbies to make a living. Is it an uncomfortable thing? Yeah, it is super uncomfortable, but it gives you time to think. It gives you time to be like, okay, what is it that I really want in my life? Because if this is the situation I'm going to be in forever, like, what do I want to do? Like, I know for a fact I can't leave this industry. I don't care if I model. I don't care if I'm on radio. I don't care if I podcast. I don't care if I do comedy. I don't care if I'm acting. I don't care what I'm doing. And I've worked really hard at trying to be as versatile as I can be with the options and opportunities that I do have, which is another thing that for my daughter, I want to help grow. What are her options? What are her opportunities? Things I never had. I'm Central American. So even for me, it's even smaller because we don't have, like, that's why I consider myself an honorary Dominican, because I love the way that you guys support each other and love each other. And like, I love that. And I've prided myself in learning those cultures, going to DR, dating Dominicans, which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But like,
no comment. No, I'm joking.
No comment. Lived in Washington Heights for a little too long. But like, you learn across the way. Like, I've tried to round myself off as much as I can. My daughter's Costa Rican, Salvadorian, and Puerto Rican, and I know she's going to have different opportunities than I had. But it's my job to learn as much as I can, to guide her as much as I can. Right. Because I didn't have mentors. I don't have mentors. I don't have guidance. I don't have teachers. I don't have anybody that's going to be like, hey, I'll help you. Every single thing I've done to this point in my career has been me, myself, and I literally tripping and falling on my face over and over and over and over and over again. At this point, I've like named myself the underdog of the industry because I've been in it for 15 years and I've worked with the best of the best. I was Alex Sensation's first female co-host. God rest in peace, James Paul. I was his female co-host. Right before he died, we had a show for years on LMP radio. I've been on radio in the Cayman Islands. I've been in radio in Costa Rica, in the US, Orlando, Miami, West Palm, New York, even on the West Coast. And for me, it's like, you think these things are good enough to take you to that next level, but they're not. Sometimes it's just not that. It's not that formula. So for me, it's just a continuous want of knowledge and diversity and creativity, because if I wouldn't have started in radio at 275 pounds, I would have never gotten to being a plus size model and doing New York Fashion Week. And
right.
Even though my career hasn't stayed in a certain lane, other than what most people know me as, which is radio, at least I can say, you know what, I've done it. I've tried it. You know, I have little bucket lists that I want to do. Like one of them is like, I want to be in a magazine. Okay, I accomplished that. Next one is I want to be on the cover of a magazine one day. Like that's on my to-do list. One of my other goals is to be on like one episode of a novela, because I think that my dramática Central American ass needs to be like, no, José, por favor, yo creía que me amabas.
That's like the ultimate dream. Yeah.
I Francisco, I interviewed Cristina, like bucket Latina list is coming off the bucket 10 points.
I love it, and I, like so when I first met you at Hispanso, you had this energy to you, and I want people, like, if they they didn't catch the first part of this, it's like you really are about that life. You really jump into things, like you said, you trip, you fall, but you're learning from it. Like when we met in New York, I remember you were like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be in New York. Come do radio." I was like, "All right, cool." And like when we're not on the air, she's like, "Yeah, I'm living out my suitcase. I'm gambling on myself." And I was like, "Wait," what? I was like, "Hold on." Like, because if you're looking at Instagram and the social media of it, you're like, "Oh, Jaylah is killing it." But Jaylah was like, "No, I'm taking this chance on me, and I'm figuring this all out step by step." And without missing a beat, she's doing it. I was just so impressed by you and just blown away. I was like, "Oh my God."
And it was harder this time around because, when you're in your early 20s, when I started my career, like I said, I've been doing this since 2008. So I've been doing this for a minute now. And I remember I've slept on couches. I've slept on air mattresses. I've slept on mattresses on the floor. Like I remember the last place I had in the Heights, we called it the trap house because I had no furniture but leftover shit, a TV, a mattress on the floor, like random pots and pans. Like I would make it work with what I had. I had nothing in my sala. And I was like, it doesn't matter. I'm barely home. I'm always out hustling. And especially at that time, I sacrificed leaving my daughter. My daughter stayed with my family in Florida because it was just safer for her at that point, because especially in the world that we live in right now, you don't know who to trust. You don't know. Right. I don't know who to leave my daughter with that's not blood. And even sometimes, no offense to anybody, but sometimes you can't even trust blood. You hear so many of these, like, stories, scary stories of child molestation and child human trafficking and child trafficking. And we live in a very scary world because there's so much, especially because of social media, these weird perceptions of people and what people see rather than what they really are. And that's two different things. And I feel like I'm one of those really misunderstood human beings that I've gotten people from East Coast and West Coast that they'll know of me and we'll talk, blah, blah, blah. It's cute. But then the minute we actually get to really hang out, they'll look at me and be like, "Yo, you're so fucking cool. Like, you're not, I thought you was going to be a whole nother person." And I'm like, but this is, again, because of the social media world we live in. I can't put my realities and and once you meet me, I'm a whole open book. I got nothing to hide from nobody. I do it with my men. I do it with my friends. I do it with people I work with. And sometimes, like, I get stopped and they're like, "Jay, it's like verbal diarrhea." I was like, but this is who I am. And we live in a world where we're so told, like, you can only be A, B, C, and D because then C, D, E, and F don't look good. And that's not a good look for, and it's like, okay, but then it comes out anyways. Like, that's what you guys are not understanding. So rather get it from the beginning than lie to the world on who I am and what I am. I'm overly passionate. I'm dramática. I'm complicada. I'm a whole ñoña. These are my first conversations with people. I have no problem being a 1,000% authentically me. Like I used to, look, when my ex-husband asked me, "Oh, I want to, be with you," I started laughing. I said, "Listen, pa, I'm real pretty. Don't let this face fool you. But I'm a whole ñoña, a super complicadita. Like, no, like, te lo estoy diciendo. Esta carita es muy bonita, pero there's a whole sack of baggage."
Yeah.
So, like, but at least I've always been one to be like, I've been clear from the get, but my intentions are never bad. I work hard, I love hard, and I'm overly passionate. And if that makes me a bad person, or if that makes me too much for you, for your company, for your people, for whatever it may be, then so be it.
Right.
I'm okay with who I am now, especially going through all of the struggles, being 275, going through this, being in the plus size industry at the beginning, being told you're too big. Now I'm too small. Like, I'm like, pero por Dios, like, what's up? Like, what's up?
Right.
Like I know you brought up nowadays you don't know who to trust with your kids. Please tell me, did you watch that Netflix documentary Abducted in Plain Sight?
No, because if I watch that shit,
no, you got.
I saw it.
And listen, and I live in espérate, because I live in Florida, so we allowed to have concealed weapons. I don't know if it's a good idea for a crazy Latina like me to be having no concealed weapon right now. Okay, because if you talk crazy to my child, vamos a tener problemas.
No, let me tell you. I'll preface it with this, and you need to watch it. It's not what you're thinking it is of like somebody coming in abducting the child. No, it is like as you're watching, you're going, no, stop.
There's no way this happened. How can this
shut up?
Happen?
What? Like that's how you're watching it.
I've gotten to the extreme with my daughter because, so, you know, kids now, they're not like us at 5 years old. Kids now are like, my daughter's 5 going on to 15. She'd be like, really? Like, I'll be taking her to school drop off in like, you know, my sports bra, like we're going to yoga, like in a sports bra and some leggings. She goes, you're going to put on a jacket, right? You can't drop me off at school like that. And I'm like, and then I'll be like, what are you trying to say? She's like, I'm not saying you're old. I'm just saying that that's not appropriate. And I'm like, bro, you're 5. You're 5.
Way. She's so wow.
She'll be like, the other day, I was wearing, again, sweat, because I love sweats in my sports bras. So I was wearing sweats in my sports bra, and she goes, Mommy, you need a boyfriend, but you can't get a boyfriend looking like that. You look like half a boy and half a girl. And I'm like, bro, what do you mean? She goes, how about you go put on a dress, some heels, maybe some makeup, and maybe you get a boyfriend. And I'm like,
that sounds like a TV show right there. I would love, you guys need a reality show. I would love to see that.
Kids are hilarious.
Right now she's obsessed with Selena, so she's all like, I'm like, bro, like my job right now is to continue to work my ass off to give her options and opportunities, because she's going to make me a Latina Kris Jenner minus the sex tape.
Right.
Minus the sex tape. She might have an OnlyFans. I can't stop her. She got ugly feet, so I'm not too much worried about that. Pero,
I feel you.
She's gonna have to shoot from the ankles up. That's it. What you saying?
Yeah, she got. Yeah. I love her.
Why she always got socks on? Why she always got socks?
Right. She got her. Listen, she got her daddy feet. She got ugly feet. No offense, but I love her to death. I got pretty feet. I'm like, damn, Ma, I'm sorry. You got to deal with that one big foot. Listen, funny. There's one thing about me. I don't got first time mom syndrome. I used to be an ex-teacher, so for me, todo eso se me pasó. I am like the most realistic mother in the world. We do matchy. We talk. We have full on like conversations about things. The other day, some guy at a restaurant was like, "Oh, you have such a beautiful smile," and then he walked away and she goes, "That's your boyfriend now." I'm like, what? She's like, he said you had a beautiful smile. I was like, listen, baby girl, especially because mommy likes Dominicans, let me teach you a lesson.
Yeah.
Just because he tells you you're beautiful and you got a nice smile doesn't mean he's your boyfriend.
Right. Good.
Pa' que aprenda de ahorita.
Yeah. That's true.
Real quick, we do have a question in the chat. Somebody wants to know, who is your all-time favorite co-host?
My all-time, damn, Benny. I know they're throwing me under the bus because I know what they want me to say.
Oh, boy.
Oh, man.
But I'm actually going to be extremely biased right now. And I do have one whole favorite co-host. And I've had a lot of amazing co-hosts. I've been very, 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 very blessed in my career to learn from good people, bad people in between, and learn my lessons in this game. My favorite co-host of all time it's always gonna be Jinx Paul. I love him. My brother Jinx Paul, God rest his soul, left this world way too soon. We did so many breaking barriers when online radio, before podcasting, before all of that, when we did real online radio, when there was no copyrights about the music you played, and there was none of that. We killed it in LMP radio, and we broke barriers. We've had everybody from El Alfa, Delphi, De La Ghetto, Jay Alvarez, Evie, the list of people that at that time, we're talking 10 years ago, 12 years ago. And that was just such a good era of freedom, because at that time we didn't have all the regulations we have now, and the censorships, and the legal and the copyrights, and I'm gonna take this down, and it was literally almost at the beginning of all of that. So, and him and I had such a bond, and we had such a connection, and it was such a good thing that I remember even we had a crazy design, and Carlito's Way, Los Tequeteques, when the Tequeteque came out, when them both started really popping uptown. Like, it was a good era, and we had a really, really good run. And then he went to La Mega, I was at X, then I went back to Alex took me and I went to La Mega. So it was just a really good run for us. It was a really, really good run. And especially at that time, New York was very, very encendido.
Hell yeah. New York,
that's when you had Taj and Calais and Phuket and Caña Café and
all of that.
Papacitos, when Dykeman was
back, girl.
When Dykeman was Little South Beach and Dykeman Bar, and it was a different time. It was a different era, and I
look
was
at Eric.
blessed.
Eric is like, yeah, okay.
He's like, yeah.
No. See, while y'all is talking, I'm pulling stuff up, y'all. I'm pulling stuff up.
That because at the end of the day, it's like, yo, me and her are really reminiscing right now. We're really talking about that time, and it's like, even like when I try to explain to people, I'm like, yo, it was a magical time uptown. It was great. I mean,
it was literally like, when you walk into Disney World or Disneyland and you're like, magic. Like, it just feels like the energy just feels different. That was that time in New York City.
Yeah.
And it was like
I grew up in New Rochelle. We didn't get that. The magic didn't make it there. I was on the outskirts. I was on the outside. We didn't make it.
You guys are getting that windy, random fairy dust. Like,
you know what it is? The red line, the 2 train stops in Yonkers. It doesn't make it all the way to New Rochelle. There it is. It didn't make it all the way.
But people used to drive over there. I met a couple of people from Long Island. People would just come to the Heights. That's just where it was at, baby.
By the way, I can tell Sasha has no idea how to drive to New Rochelle, because she's like, that's bad Long Island. That's a different direction, Sasha. That's
further.
Even though New Rochelle is still not that far, y'all could have made it out there.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? Listen, I remember at one point when every time I land, because I have this thing that apparently me and New York, I always compare New York to like the love of my life. That's my baby daddy. That's the love of my life. Like, I have a baby, like a real baby daddy, and I don't love him as much as I love New York.
Wow.
New York is my love affair. Like, I'd be like, I don't want to go back. Gets a phone call. Hey, big head, when do you need me? When do I need to be there?
That would be hilarious if that's how you describe your love to people. Like, girl, I love you. I love you like I love Rhode Island. You're not New York yet. I love you like Arkansas.
Right.
I love you like I like Orlando. Like, Disney's there. We can have a fun weekend, but you're a little expensive. So I gotta think about it twice. Yeah, no, but New York, I have a huge love affair, and I always go back, and I have such an appreciation. I've lived in Harlem. I've lived in the Bronx. I have the 2 train on 174th and Vice. Like, wow. I've lived in Washington Heights on Wadsworth and 187. Like, literally, and mind you, I was born in Long Island, raised in Boca Raton, Florida. So, like, everybody's like, you from New York, right? I was like, yeah. And everybody thinks, when they think Jaylah, they think New York. And that to me is it's a blessing, because I've worked really, really hard because I fucking love it and I'm just obsessed with it. But I've always wanted to culturally raise myself different. Since I grew up down here, I was always like, this isn't it for me. Like, I don't fit in here. I don't feel right. I don't fit in. Like, this is not my people. This is not my culture. This is not, this is not me. And I go to New York, and it's like,
what was the most memorable moment that you had in New York City? What was like the most one where you're like, you know what? Like, I love New York, and this memory is going to stay in my mind forever.
By the way, I feel like I'm going to get text messages from Sasha later with crying emojis. I miss New York. I'm going back.
Sasha, you could always call me and we could reminisce together and talk shit.
Yeah.
For me, and I always give this example to everybody, I think the moment I knew I was completely head over heels was when you're scared as shit to go into a subway, because I used to do overnights and weekends. So my first on-air radio job was for X96.3 for Univision in New York City. And it was funny because it happened a couple weeks after I had just landed, and I said, fuck it, I'm leaving MTV. I'm making $23 an hour as a 20-year-old in Miami working on Lincoln Road. Like, it was a dream job. My job was, I was head production coordinator for celebrity hosted shows for MTV Today.
Wow.
I even left my senior year of college of FIU for this.
Wow.
And I was so in love. I was making such good money that I would literally fly every other weekend to New York.
No way.
Because I was single, I owned my house, I had nothing else to do in life. So they would be like, yo, you work too much overtime. Like, you need to take off half a day Thursday, be off Friday, Saturday, Sunday, come back Monday. So I'd be like, what? I'm out to New York. So I would like literally leave work, have the maletas in my car, change at the airport to go to work Monday morning because I had no responsibilities. So, and I would do that. So I would come hustle in New York every other weekend. And I remember one of the very first times when I finally decided to say, you know what? I'm packing all my stuff, forget my bougie job. Like, I'm out. Me fui. I'm going to go live in New York. I don't know what I'm going to do. I have no job. I have no leads. I have nothing. My family lived in Long Island. I wasn't going to go stay in Long Island. I had a couple of friends here and there that I was like, okay, I can trust them. I can move around and figure it out. And I remember moving with my last paycheck from MTV. And I moved. I stayed at my friend's crib with her 5 kids. She's mad Dominican. She had 5 kids, and we all slept in a 2-bedroom crib. And I stayed on the couch with the kids in the living room, chilling. And I lived like that for a couple months till I figured it out. And I found, it was Dominican Independence Day, and it was at 809. And I walked into 809, and I happened to meet the PD of Univision. And, you know, out of respect, the first thing your parents tell you is like, si te hablan en español, tú responde en español, period. So, like, he spoke to me in Spanish. So I was like, oh, hola, mucho gusto. Da, da, da. He goes,
right.
Oh, he's like, you're Central American. I was like, yeah. He goes, where are you from? I was like, I'm Costa Rican, Salvador. He goes, please tell me you do radio. I was like, yeah, I do radio. I'm like mad bubbly, mad like, ooh. He's like, I'm like, yeah, I do radio. And he's like, oh my God, like, we need somebody overnights and weekends at Univision. And I'm like, yes. And then I remember taking my first walk. So I had to go from Harlem, where I was staying, and take the train by myself, mind you, Florida girl, all the way to Madison and like 54th. Didn't know what I was even doing on the damn subway. And I remember walking out of this bum, rat, piss infested subway, disgusting as shit, and then walking out into the stop in the city. But literally walking up those stairs, it was like a rush, an unexplainable rush of energy that you're like, it felt like magic. And it was like, how do you go from this nasty ass piss infested shit to literally the most magical hyper being feeling that you know what it reminds me of? And I'm dorky as shit. So it reminds me of like Dragon Ball Z when they like Vegeta and them light the fuck up.
Oh my God, when they go Super Saiyan. So you went Super Saiyan.
So when walking out of a subway station in New York City or Times Square and feeling that energy of that city, even when it's dead, is that Super Saiyan feeling. And there's nothing. And I've been to so many places in this world.
That's just the urine fumes, girl. That's all that is. That's the urine coming off of you.
It was the urine splashing off of me. It's like they put the blue light, and the blue light was all.
That urine must have like caffeine or something, like a caffeine aroma. But like, that's the thing. It's like New York City does have all of those things that, you know, make it so gutter and all that stuff. But I guess it's like, you know, it's like the rows coming from the concrete, right? Like these, you don't think, because you think this place is filthy and all that stuff, you don't really think there's beautiful things that are gonna come out of it. But it happens all the time in New York City. You know what I
Listen,
mean?
there's only
Like,
two places in the world that I've
yeah,
ever experienced where you can be in the most randomest hole in the wall place or bougiest place or down the damn street. There's only two places in the world, that's LA and New York, that that one day, that one moment, that one conversation, that one stranger can completely
it change your
change
life.
your entire
Yeah.
life.
Yeah,
And
like
there,
yeah. The comedy scene in New York City was unlike anything that I've ever experienced, right? Because like, you know, being in any type of uh entertainment, like it's not like acting, it's not like singing, it's not like comedy world,
Uh,
especially in New York City, they always support each other. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you had a bad day, you went on stage, you didn't do so well. People are like, you know what? It happens to all of us. Like, because it's just so humbling at the same time. You know what I mean? But just seeing everyone together in New York City, just, you know, support each other is beautiful. You know what I
and
mean?
yeah.
that was really different for me, especially coming from South Florida, because it's very clicky down here. If you're not in a clique, and they don't like cliques mixing either. They're very divided. And I'm not one of those people. Like, both of you have met me in person, and I'm like a bouncy ball. Like, I just hi. Like, I like to see and meet and talk to everybody. Like, I don't want to be in a clique. I don't want to just be like
Yeah.
put in a box to one person. I feel like there's so many people that bring so many different learning experiences and knowledge and just life experiences in general that like for me, why limit myself to a clique where we're all, it's like being in a washer. Like, everybody's just going around the same circle, where if you're bouncing around, if you're learning from different people, if you're connecting, and not even you connecting with other people, but connecting your other people with other people, like, you don't know where that leads. And I've had, like, for me, like, it hasn't been easy because I haven't ever been in a clique like that I can say, like, oh, this is no, like, even when I worked for Lo Maximo Productions, 150
Right.
DJs internationally, and I was in a club in West Palm Beach on Saturday randomly, and they were like, Jaylah, and my friends always laugh. They're like, yo, everywhere you go, it could be the most random in the world, but you always find and know somebody. And I was like, but that's, again, that comes from that wanting to learn from other people, from networking with so many people, from not limiting myself to a clique. Like, I respect everybody. I think everybody has so much to teach each other, but I feel like we live in a world that there's so much communication that we don't communicate.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Simple.
I get what you're
Right.
saying. Yeah.
Jayla, I'm not gonna lie to you. I feel like we have to get you back on, and there's gonna be multiple episodes because there's so much to unpack with you, and
Yeah, exactly.
you keep dropping little breadcrumbs. Like, hold on,
I'm planting
Fashion Week.
seeds.
Hold on,
I'm about to
I want
create
to
a
know.
whole jungle right now.
Yeah, Fashion Week. Hold on, I want to know. Oh, MTV. Hold on, that's another story I want to know about.
Right.
And we didn't even get into the whole pandemic. How you with the radio show had to move back. Like, we didn't get into any of that.
Right.
No,
Like, we definitely have to have you back. You got so much more to unpack, and you keep dropping little seeds. Oh yeah, I was in the Cayman Islands. Hold on. Wait a second. You got more stories. You got stories for days. But me and Sasha are huge fans. We're definitely gonna have you back on. Tell us what you're up to. Where people can find you right now. Right now.
So right now, and Eric is actually going to be on our show tomorrow, which I can't wait for. He's going to be on the Vic 8 show tomorrow, which we're actually, shout out to Rick and Benny and the whole squad that they're on here watching the show. And we're actually nominated for 6 Latin Podcast Awards this year. Last year we were nominated for 3. We won 1. And for me, this is a huge honor, especially, the guys are all New York based. Obviously, we started working together when we were New York based. And the fact that I'm in Florida and that we're still keeping it going and still working together, that goes to prove what we were talking about, New York people, and how, we support each other and grow together. And I think that that's such a beautiful thing. The menu on it right now, we're on a little hiatus. We're doing a little bit of remixing with DJ M. Dot. He's the DJ for Jamie Foxx and the Miami Heat, one of the most amazing co-hosts I've ever had. Him and Rick can fight about it all the time because they're both coming at me, always on DM. Who's gonna talk more shit about Jaylah, which is fine. I'm used to it. And just working. I'm about to relaunch Mommies and Mimosas, which is I don't want to call it a mom podcast because it's not. It's a parenting lifestyle podcast, which is really dope because it brings up the fact that, you know, a lot of our followers have actually been either aunts, uncles, godparents, or people considering being parents, which I thought was great because we thought we'd get the mom fan base, but it's actually people who are curious about what modern day parenting is. And obviously, I'm very much a modern day parent. I'm not one of those mommies we be going at it like we friends. Like my homegirls are like, she's not your homegirl. I was like, she will be one day, and we got to start now. Like she's gonna know better. You hear me? She's gonna know better, and I'm still her mother. And so it's a little old school, new school, and I'm just really trying to keep busy, still doing the modeling thing, still trying to create comedy sketches, which, by the way, Sasha, I give you so much credit for, because I'd be looking at myself and I'd be like, I haven't even started a Tiki Talkie because I feel like Tiki Talkie is just not for me. But my daughter wanted Tiki Talkie, and I'm like, bro, que confusión, like it's a Tiki Talkie. That's how I call it. Even my dad want to put her on TikTok, and I'm like, what do you mean you want to put your grandchild on TikTok? And he's like, yeah, but my fans have been asking your fans, what?
Yeah.
You don't even have an Instagram, my friend. Like,
right.
Pero yeah, so I am Jaylah on Instagram and all that stuff. I'm here, man. I'm here doing talks, trying to hustle.
Yeah, I mean,
go follow her.
Shout out to all of you guys. Congratulations on the award, and sky's the limit for you guys. Especially I've been on the Rick H show, and y'all know what y'all doing. Y'all ask real questions. Y'all really, sky's the limit for you guys. So congratulations.
Yeah, no, I'm really supposed to be working on a show like that because honestly, I get offered to do a lot of different things and, people with numbers and go on this and do that. And for me, it was always with Rick and the team. It's always been substance. It's always been professionalism. It's always been, great content foundation, which is something, Rick works really hard. Justin, the whole squad, they all pull their weight, craze, and it's nice to be a part of a team that
they
actually goes hard.
They mad funny. How you not they mad funny.
They're hilarious.
I'm pretty sure it's hard sometimes.
Actually, I mean, they made me want to step my game up, just like Eric did over here. Now I'm over here contemplating, reading my comedy Bible and stuff, and I'm like, can I do this? Can I do this? Right. Can I not do this? Can I do this? But I'm getting yelled at about that later.
Pre-pandemic, Sasha, she was like, "Oh, I want to get up on stage with this." Like, let's do it. And we had planned out I was gonna go to New York for her birthday and get her on stage, and then the whole world shut down. Jaylah shut it down with her. She said,
they're Jaylah, they're not ready. The universe is they're not ready for you yet, baby girl. They're not ready. They're not ready. They don't know. They don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's okay. You know why? Because Miami's fully open, so I'm gonna have to get both of y'all to Miami, and we could do a stand-up show over here.
There we go.
Let's
put it out there. Thank you so much for joining us. Like I say every week, anybody we got on the show, go follow them, support them by following them, liking their stuff, sharing. Go download the podcast, The Rick H Show. I'm gonna be on tomorrow, so tune in.
Yeah.
She is dope. She will motivate you. Follow this woman. She is amazing. I'm in awe of her, and we're definitely gonna have you back because there's so much more we got to unpack. There's so much more.
Just tell your fans not to be upset when they see me crying to Aventura, right? Because there's still some realness on my stories, and I'll be doing the cortavenas, yo vi llorar, all day, So don't mind them. Telling you from the start.
Sasha, tell people where they can find you.
You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on TikTok as well.
The Tiki Talkie.
Tiki Talkie and Sasha Merci. Yeah, and check out if you have not seen De Lo Mío on HBO Max, make sure to check it out.
Yeah, you know that little movie that you didn't tell me about that you
Oh
just.
my God, you're never gonna let me live
Yeah.
that down.
No, I'm not. That, this is my co-host Jayla. Doesn't tell me she's in the movie. I have to find out like a regular person in a press release. I was like, hold
But
on,
you know
what?
what's
What
so
is?
Oh
funny?
wait.
He talks
Oh,
about
my
this.
co-host is on there. How cool!
No, but you know
Yeah.
what's crazy? He talks about that all the time, but he never told me when his birthday was. I found out his birthday online, so that makes us even. Because come on,
Yeah, that's kind of fucked up though.
yeah, like how
Is it?
I don't know your birthday?
I don't know how to bring
Oh,
that up
when
as
is
an
my birthday?
adult. Like, hey, my birthday's coming up. My favorite color is blue. Like, those are things it's
So,
weird as an adult to bring up.
so my birthday is April 12th. Y'all could DM me. I'll send
Yes,
you my address.
Hi, this was fun, yo. Thank you for
Thank you,
coming.
Jayla. Thank you
Thank
guys
you
for
guys
tuning
for
in, and
having
we'll catch you next week.
All right, bye.